Hey, what's up you guys? So in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a LED tail light at home. Today I'm going to be doing a voiceover because there's a lot of steps to it and it's very chaotic as you can see. But if you guys want to get to know more about it, please keep on watching. Let's get right in. So to begin, we need to do some serious work on these tail lights because they are old and it's just overall really fragile. And yeah, so you kind of need to look around and make sure that if there's anything that are damaged and that can get in the way. Anyway, so the first step is to take off these adhesives. Just trust me, take off these adhesives because this is the most annoying thing about doing this conversion. I hate these adhesives so much. You get it everywhere and it doesn't come off unless you use a brake cleaner. So I really recommend to get this off as much as possible. So yeah, we're gonna skip it after. Alright, so I just cleaned everything up and it looks good. Yeah, so use some pliers, brake cleaner, just getting everything out as much as possible. The reason why being, like I said, it just gets everywhere and I hate them so much. So get them off and you'll be happier, honestly. And now we're moving on to taking off the lens. Personally, I recommend cutting it, but if I wanted to take off the lens and that was the way that I wanted to do at the time, so we're gonna do it that way. But we're gonna try put some plier in between and try to get the lens out by heating it with a gun. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So this is the heat gun I bought and it was pretty cheap. Yeah, this level 2 500 Celsius, you kind of need that. It was really helpful for me to have at least 500 Celsius. So buy a heat gun that can go up to 500 Celsius and you will have no problem. Alright, now what I'm doing is I'm heating it up and kind of feeling it to see how hot it is. If it gets really hot, you're doing it right. So you don't want to like keep it on at one spot. You want to like kind of swing it around and make sure it gets everywhere and evenly, because if you just focus on one part, it's not really good. Don't do that. I really don't recommend doing that because when I did that, it kind of melt like part of the plastic and I couldn't reshape it after. So yeah, I really recommend you guys to try be safe when you're doing this. Really be careful as possible. Don't try to pry it open like really hard like I did. But yeah, if you're a careful person, you should be okay. Okay, so after me trying to open one for maybe 2 hours, yeah, it's kind of how it comes out. I would try to work it around from the middle to outer, just because it's easier that way, because the outer end, it has a really deep mold and it's really hard to get off from that side. So I would try to work your way out from the middle to outer, and that made it really easy. So yeah, if it kind of struggles through, try use a heat gun again, try heat it up again, and yeah, just continuously repeating the same process and you'll get it out in no time. The second one, it actually only took me about maybe 3 minutes. The other one took maybe an hour and 57 minutes, total 2 hours. But it just takes time, but when you get the hang of it, it's really easy. So yeah, just be careful. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, let's move on to the next step. Now, it's the next day. I was really tired, so I just decided to go to sleep. Anyway, so next morning, I was cleaning. I guess like this is like the mold. Anyway, I pried it open, separate the two. Actually, there's this plastic thing that is holding. It's like a reflector in the middle, holding it together. I just break them, because you don't need it. So I broke it and just pried it open with the force, but try not to crack anything else, because that's the only thing that you should be cracking is the bottom reflector. So yeah, there's a adhesive that's holding it down on the both side with the mold and the housing. So make sure you heat it up the two ends, and just, you guys know what to do at this point, right? Like just pry it open. Just be careful with it, and yeah, just like that, taking it off, and yeah, that's how. All right, so when you separate it, it kind of looks like this, and we're gonna try make a separate, so 3 circuit with the LED inside. So that is kind of a plan that we're going for today. And when you flip it, so there's like a little space that you can, I guess, fit it to. So the idea is to fit the circuit from the back where the LED is holding, and you're trying to hot glue it together on the back where there's a little small spaces, so it looks really natural. And that's the, I guess, what we're gonna be doing, or what I did for the swap. And yeah, we're gonna try cut out the circuit now. All right, now I'm going to be showing you guys the circuit board I bought. So this is like a flex material where you can cut it with your scissors. I just want to say all these ideas that what I'm doing is I came from this YouTuber. He's a Japanese YouTuber that I really love, and he explained everything that I needed to buy. So I basically follow his video to get all this. Now, so we're on the next step now, and I am doing where I'm cutting out the cardboard pieces to, just making a mold or whatever, like I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a shape of how the circuit is gonna be. So I cut out the shape of it first, and right now I'm measuring it out where the center line is gonna be. So when you put it on, it comes in center. So that's what I'm doing now, and it's really important to be tedious and measuring it one by one, because it really helped me at the end that if you measure it correctly, all the LED will line up nicely. So you kind of have an idea of that visual, and it will look really pretty at the end. But you guys are probably wondering, like, okay, what about the LED placement? How did you figure that out? So I'm gonna talk to you guys about that right now. Alright, so before I move on to the next step of building a circuit, I wanted to quickly explain to you guys the mapping of this turn signal. So the turn signal that I am building in this video is going to be a sequential with 3 patterns, which meaning that it lights up by 1, 2, 3. So in order from 1 and 2 and 3. So that's basically how it's gonna light up. As you can see, it's divided by in 3 rows of vertical lines of 3. So because I want the turn signal to light up as 1, 2, 3, I decided to map it out like that, and this is how it will light up basically. Yeah, I'm showing you the video right now, and this is how it looks. So you guys get the idea of how it's gonna light up, but because it's a sequential, you have to understand that there are ways of doing it. And for me, I had to purchase a module, and it was like 20 bucks from China, super affordable. It's just 3 patterns, and I just wanted like a simple one. There's no any other, show mode or anything. It's just simple 1, 2, 3. You could definitely use like a show module, like from Ghost Lighting, or I don't know where you guys get those kind of stuff, or you can just custom build it and then, make your own module. But I wanted it to be like 1, 2, 3. So that's the way I want it to light up. Anyway, so as you can see, the yellow dots that you see inside the box, those are all LEDs. And then it has a plus and minus direction for all of them, because I will explain to you more further in this video. But for now, just understand like the structure of this LED module that I'm building. And as you can see, the 1 and 3 has less LEDs compared to the number 2. It's because I wanted to clear out the middle spaces for both rows to clear the curve that typex taillight have. So that's the reason why it's the number 3, that one looks like a C, and then 1 looks like a opposite of C. You know what I mean? So because I put the LED like that, so I mapped it like that to balance it all out. So which meaning that if you count it from the top to bottom row, there are 6 LEDs, which meaning that it will be divided by 3, so 2 LED each for each row. Column, row, I don't even know. Don't ask me, but you guys get what I mean. So it's divided by 3. So in theory, every row has 2 LED rows, basically, right? Okay, you guys. Okay, I'm showing you the pic. This is how it's kind of look. But yeah. Okay, well, we'll just move on to the next. You guys just needed to know that how it's gonna look. Oh, I forgot to mention, but each row has LED that are grouped in 4. So 4 LED as one group. And thank me later. It's really good to group the LED together. It really helps. And group it by the same number. I will explain to you guys more on that later, but just keep that in mind that every LEDs that I put on this map is grouped by 4. So first row is 4 and 4. You guys can see like that little gray line that connects to it. They are grouped in 4 LEDs each, top and bottom. The second row is 3 groups that are connected by 4 LEDs. The third is the same as 1. So everything is grouped by 4. It's really, really important when you try to group your LEDs, because you kind of have to, no matter what kind of tail light you're making, whatever, it's important to group your LEDs by 4 to 5. So make sure your total number can be divided by 4 or 5. That's very, very important. Because you're gonna have to group these LED by either 4 or 5. It really up to you, but that's just my recommendation, and I think that's what other people do it too. I learned this from watching a bunch of YouTube and how people do it. They don't explain this honestly, but I'm explaining to you guys now that you should group it by 4 or 5. And yeah, so just make sure you have your map ready, just the LED, and make sure how you're gonna know how to group it. So yeah, let's get to next step. I apologize for that really confusing explanation, but I promise you everything's gonna make sense at the end. So just keep on watching. But just forget about that for now. Let's just cut the circuit. And like I said, by the time you're doing this, you should have just your LED maps, where your LED is going to be. Make sure you write it down, or you write out the diagram. Don't worry about the plus or minus, just write out the diagram. Just worrying about grouping it and the placement of where your bulbs is going to be. So right now what I'm doing is I'm cutting out the circuit based off of the cardboard pieces that I made, and tracing it with a Sharpie. And I recommend you guys to cut it a little bigger, because you want to have some slack in adjusting it, because it's a circuit board. There's holes, and if you want to line it up with everything, all 1, 2, 3 from top to bottom, they all have to line up in a straight line. So you have to understand that's kind of difficult if you're trying to conserving a circuit board and stuff like that. I mean, you guys can probably cut out the whole gigantic square and then working your way up from there. That works too. But for me, I just wanted to conserve the supply, so I didn't do that. I just cut it out and then made it bigger so I can adjust it afterwards. Alright, so I just cut it out, the circuit, and it's the same exact size as the cardboard mold. I haven't made any adjustments yet, but this is how it kind of looks right now. It fits perfectly. Alright, before we move on, I wanted to explain to you guys what kind of LED that I'm using. So these are actually called Flux LEDs, and normally I think the LEDs comes with plus and minus 1 leg each, but this one comes in 4 legs, 2 positive side and 2 negative side. So what happened is that if one side breaks down, the other side will still function. So it's really durable, and yeah, it's cheap and it's bright, and it's honestly the best LED out there. Especially it's really good for tail light and stuff like that. So this is what I'm using. So now I laid out the LED based off of the map that I drew, and this is how it looks right now. As you can see, there are space between because I kind of adjusted the space to fit perfectly. I left 3 holes in between, so that's kind of what I did. Yeah, so now based off of where I just put, start marking down where the LED is gonna be. Make sure it's at a center of where the LED is gonna be. LED will use 3x3 holes, so make sure you keep that in mind. Alright, so now that we marked all the circuit with the Sharpie, we know where the LEDs are going. Make sure to do both sides, and then we're going to make it more luminous. So the front of the circuit is bare black right now, and we're going to change that. Some people paint it with chrome. I don't think that's really gonna do anything. I actually purchased chrome vinyl wrap and wrap it over it so it becomes more natural, and it looks like a OEM taillight look. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's why we're gonna be using the vinyl wrap. Alright, now you just wrap it, and here's how it looks. Make sure to take off the protective film, and now we're moving on to the next step, is poking each hole of where the LED is going. So you grab your circuit and you just marked it in the back. So basically you poke a hole, 4 holes each, where the LED is gonna go. So when that's done, here's how it looks. So it's nicely aligned hole for where that LED is gonna go. For today's video, I'm gonna end it right here. I know it's already really long. Next video, we're going to actually start soldering the LED. Alright, Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I worked really hard to make this content, and also subscribe my YouTube channel, hit that bell icon, so the next upload of this follow-up video, you will get to know it first. And this is all my social media, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace out.